seeds and rivers of carrot juice. But something stirred in the shadows, something small and furry and very, very scared. A tiny squeak broke the silence. It came from a wire cage tucked away in the corner. Inside, a pair of red eyes blinked open. Whiskers, the hamster, shivered. The shadow on the wall moved again. Whiskers took a frightened hop backward, bumping into his plastic water bottle. He froze, holding his breath, listening for any sign of danger. Whiskers was a golden hamster, small and soft with a twitching nose. He loved to stuff his cheek pouches full of sunflower seeds. He loved to run on his squeaky wheel. He loved to burrow under the soft wood chips in his cage. But most of all, Whiskers loved to sleep. He was very, very good at sleeping. During the day, Whiskers' cage sat on a table near the window. Sunbeams warmed his fur. He would often curl up in a ball and nap, dreaming of adventures in a land made of cheese. But at night, when Billy turned off the lights, everything changed. The room grew cold. Shadows danced on the walls, and Whiskers would lie awake, his nose twitching, listening to the strange noises of the night. The first few nights, it was just noises, tiny scrabbling sounds, soft thumps, the kind of noises a house makes when it settles in the dark. But then, one night, Whiskers saw it. The shadow on the wall. It moved like smoke, twisting and turning, growing larger and smaller. Whiskers watched, his tiny heart pounding. He tried to tell Billy. He squeaked and squeaked, but Billy just slept on. The shadow seemed to come closer, stretching out towards the cage. Whiskers scurried into his little house, hiding under a pile of soft cotton fluff. He peeked out through a tiny hole, his whiskers trembling. The shadow was gone. Night after night, the shadow returned. It seemed to grow bolder. One night, Whiskers woke to a strange whirring sound. He scurried out of his house and stared at his metal exercise wheel. It was spinning slowly, even though Whiskers wasn't touching it. He backed away, his eyes wide with fear. The wheel spun faster and faster, the whirring sound turning into a high-pitched whine. Suddenly it stopped. Dead silence filled the room. Then a soft, cold breeze ruffled Whiskers' fur. He felt something brush past him, something invisible and icy cold. He jumped back into his house, burying himself under the cotton fluff, too afraid to even squeak. The next morning, Billy noticed something was wrong. Whiskers wouldn't come out of his house. He wouldn't eat his sunflower seeds. He wouldn't even run on his squeaky wheel. He just huddled in the corner, his nose twitching, his eyes wide with terror. Billy looked around the room, but everything seemed normal. That night, Billy lay awake, listening. He heard it too, a soft whisper, just at the edge of hearing. "Whiskers," it seemed to say. "Whiskers." Billy sat up in bed, his heart pounding. He looked over at the cage. The shadow was back. It hovered over the cage, and the whispering grew louder. "Whiskers." Whiskers knew he had to escape. He couldn't stay in the cage with the shadow. He had to get to Billy. He squeezed through the bars of the cage door, which hadn't been properly latched. He scurried across the room, his tiny claws clicking on the hardwood floor. He scrambled up the side of Billy's bed and leaped onto the pillow. "Whiskers!" Billy cried, scooping him up in his hands. The whispering stopped. The shadow vanished. Whiskers snuggled into Billy's palm, trembling. He was safe now. He was with Billy. Billy looked around the room one last time, then snuggled Whiskers close. "Don't worry, little buddy," he whispered. "It's just a dream." But as he closed his eyes, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them, something hidden in the shadows, waiting for the next night to fall.